I'm in, gosh, like my 8th month or something at this program, and I love it here. I would make this decision every single iteration of the time. Hi friends, it's Bernice again. Today's video, I'm gonna focus on how I went about choosing my residency program. For the residency process, this is the step in training after medical school lasts about 3 to 7 years, and this is really where you make your next step as a young physician. This is where you're gonna train. This is where you're gonna kind of set your foundation for your career. It's a match process. So you rank places based on which ones basically meet your needs the most. And then the programs themselves will rank you based on who they think will fit into their program the best. And then this complicated algorithm kind of matches you. So the way that I'm gonna go about this is I'm actually going to read you some parts of the love letter that I wrote to my #1 choice for residency. And if you haven't seen my match day video, definitely go and watch it. One of my favorite days of my life. I was extremely fortunate to match at my dream program. And I want to kind of go through the things that dictated why this was kind of the place for me. And I knew that it was going to be the place for me. And now I'm in, gosh, like my 8th month or something at this program, and I love it here. I would make this decision every single iteration of the time. So I feel so great. For me, the kind of first thing that I wanted to determine was what kind of patient population do I want to serve? And I knew for me, I went into medicine knowing that I wanted to work with underrepresented, under-resourced, and vulnerable populations. That means people who are experiencing poverty, people who are experiencing homelessness, people who have been the victims of systemic injustice, systemic racism, just structural injustice. I knew that I wanted to go to a place that not only served this population, but also had a mission for serving this population. And so the first of the 4 things that really dictated how I chose my program was patient population. Here I write, with its location in the city's south side, it serves the patient population who compelled me to enter medicine in the first place. Majority poor and vulnerable, yet extraordinarily resilient individuals. These are the same people who I hope to dedicate my career to, and it's important to me to start serving them while I'm still in training. The next of the tenets that was extremely important to me was leadership, and leadership development specifically. I knew I wanted to be in a place that was going to train me to serve the people that I want to serve, and I also wanted to be in a place that was going to offer me resources as an individual, be that mentorship, be that opportunities for professional development, conferences, support if I'm accepted to be parts of different committees. I wanted all of those things. And so I knew I needed to be in a place that was set up with also a mission of creating people who wanted to become physician leaders. So in this part I said, in addition to building clinical acumen, I deeply care about issues that impact our patients and their communities outside of the hospital. I took a hiatus from medical school to pursue a master's in public policy from the Harvard Kennedy School, which I did, and check out the cards here. I have a video about why I chose to take a hiatus from med school to do this master's and kind of dedicate myself to this work. And so I go on to say, so that I could devote time to studying structural solutions to many of the problems that affect our society. I was impressed during the interview day by the support, such as mentorship and financial backing, that this program pledges to its residents who, like me, want to continue exploring how to impact the large, complex problems that our patients face. So that was leadership development. The third of my 4 kind of major criteria was I wanted to go to a place that I was going to feel like I was part of the community. and that I was going to really build strong connections, because residency or grad school or med school or whatever the case is a time when the connections that you are making with your co-residents and the people that you train with are, if you're fortunate, going to be lifelong friendships. They're going to be networking. They're going to be opportunities for growth. They're going to be people who you are going through something that is unlike anything in this world with. And you want to be with people that you feel a deep sense of belonging and community. So for this section of community, this is what I wrote. To this day, I still remember having so much fun with the program's residents at the pre-interview social that I didn't want the night to end. Building meaningful relationships with the people around me has always been a top priority of mine. I know that residency will challenge me in new ways, so having a strong community will be even more important during this time. This community is distinctly diverse across multiple dimensions, and in this case I was talking about racially. I knew I wanted to go to a diverse program where I wasn't going to feel like a token in terms of being a Black woman physician, even though we are rare and there needs to be a lot more growth in our numbers. I knew that I wanted to be in a place where I felt like my identities could be something that I express and could be something that are celebrated and cherished. And so I wanted to go to a place like that. So like I was saying, this program's community is distinctly diverse across multiple dimensions, which adds to the richness of its community. I yearn to be in a space where I can feel the type of belonging that I felt while spending time with your residents. And then the fourth aspect of how I chose where I ended up is something that I think probably ends up being, for most people, the most important aspect. For me, it was a very important aspect, and that's why it was one of my four, but I was open, and what I'm talking about here is location. A lot of people have a lot of different things that are tying them to certain geographical areas, or maybe people are extremely committed to being in a rural setting versus an urban setting versus, whatever the case is. Location, that's going to end up dictating a lot of what people choose and how people decide to move forward. And for me, I ended up loving the location. I'm currently in Chicago. I knew I wanted to be in Chicago, and so even though I interviewed across the country and I was genuinely open to moving from one coast to the other and interviewed from coast to coast and was open to moving, I knew that being in Chicago was somewhere that I felt called to. So what I wrote was, all of the aforementioned resources are enough for me to love your program the best. But even more, it is in the city that I most want to live in for residency. So for me, I grew up in Illinois, and I have not had a chance to live near my family for many years, and doing so now is very important to me. Additionally, Chicago is a place that I feel called to professionally. There are important policy-making opportunities in the city that can have tangible, positive impacts on our patients. I want to be part of that movement, not to mention Chicago is such a fun, bustling metropolitan city. So I ended the letter saying, I know that this program is a place that I could grow tremendously, and I know that I will bring a lot to the residency as well if chosen. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. So those were the major things that helped me to decide where I wanted to end up for residency, and I went with that. A lot of what you decide it's gonna literally end up being just kind of like a feeling, I just feel like this is a place where I can thrive. I just feel as though I'm going to connect with these residents. It can be just kind of trusting your gut and going with your heart in a lot of ways. But I am so excited with how things ended up for me. I really hope anyone who's watching this, who's in the midst of making a big decision about the next step that they're going to take in the next place that they're going to go, that you feel encouraged. And know that even if you don't end up at the place that you necessarily ranked #1, I have so many friends who ended up at places that they did not end up ranking #1, but literally ended up having the time of their life, ended up having such a fulfilling, rich training experience. Despite what they thought they needed, they ended up where they needed to be. And so feel encouraged. I am excited to see how things turn out for everyone, and stay blessed. For anyone who has not yet, definitely hit that subscribe button to this channel, like, comment, and share this video with anyone you think would benefit from the tips and tools, and also from its message. Sending a lot of love. Mwah!